Pandas 3 is coming soon, and it's going to change a lot of the ways in which we construct our queries. I've done a whole bunch of videos over the last 2 weeks showing you the individual ways in which our queries might change, but there's nothing like a concrete data set and a concrete set of problems to really bring home how we've been doing things until now in Pandas 2 and how that will change in Pandas 3. So I'm taking Bamboo Weekly number 149, which came out in mid-December, all about flu season, basically using the flu view, as they call it, flu view data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States to understand not just flu and how it's spreading in the US, but to do so using both Pandas 2 and Pandas 3. And in doing that comparison, we can see how and where this is going to change our queries. All right. Let's start off by loading up Marimo, the notebook I'm using, and Pandas and Plotly, in case we want to do some plotting. And I'm going to load up the file here. It's a CSV file. I'm going to use read CSV. This has not changed in the slightest. I'm going to give it the file name. I am going to use the PyArrow engine because it's nice and fast. And I'm going to say header equals 1 because the first line of the file does not contain the headers. It contains some notes. And so we just want to ignore that first line, what we would call line 0. And if I now look at DF, if I look at our data frame, we can see a whole bunch of columns. Indeed, Marimo tells us that it's 14,710 rows and 15 columns. And we have columns for region type and region and year and week and percentage weighted ILI, and we're going to talk about that as well. And on and on and on, all sorts of different statistics about the flu in different regions of the United States on different dates. Okay, so far so good. So in my questions in Bamboo Weekly, the first set of questions is load the CSV data into a data frame, both Pandas 2 and Pandas 3. Is there a difference in loading time? Well, if I look here, the loading time was 12 milliseconds. That's not really very long at all. We'll compare it with Pandas 3 in a moment. Is there a difference in the amount of memory each uses? This is where things get more interesting. If I want, I can say df.info. And df.info is a method that tells me about the data frame itself and the data it contains. And we can see here the D type of each column. Okay, a whole bunch of objects. Objects are, as you know, how pandas typically and traditionally represent strings, because it doesn't want to use NumPy strings, so it stores the strings in Python and then has a reference to that Python object. So object could mean any Python object, but really most of the time it means a string. And then it tells us it's using 1.7 plus megabytes. And this is, as I always like to say, a lie. It is maybe more generously an underestimation. It's a description of, a calculation of how much memory is used by those references in NumPy. But it does not actually go out and count the bytes or count the characters in the strings in Python, because that would take much longer. To do that, I have to say here, memory usage equals deep. And if I do that, suddenly it comes back with a real number, and that is 3.1 megabytes. In other words, it was underestimating it by half. All right, so that's a big change here, right? We see now if we have to choose, we have to indicate how to check the actual memory. Okay, well, what if I now go off to Python, to Pandas 3, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Let's load up the data frame. How long did it take? 11 milliseconds, basically the same thing. And I look at DF, and we can see our data frame here in Marimo, and already things look a little different. Look at this. Instead of object types, we have str types. What's going on there? And if I now say df.info, and I get the information about my data frame, you can see that the int64 columns and the float64 columns, those are exactly the same. But where we had object columns before, now we have str columns. That is because in Pandas 3, the strings are not stored in Python. They are stored using PyArrow. The PyArrow library, assuming it is in your project and available, will be used for storing strings. And that means we don't have to go to Python to check the length. We don't have to go to Python to do anything. They are right there in memory, and they are small. You can see here we're using only 2 megabytes. That's a savings in this data frame of about 1/3, even a little more than 1/3. Not too shabby for basically zero work on our part. And so using strings in PyArrow is one of the big differentiators between Pandas 2 and Pandas 3. I will add that if you don't install PyArrow, there was talk about requiring it in Pandas 3. It is not a requirement. It will fall back to using NumPy, but don't do that. You really don't want that. The PyArrow strings are super fantastic, faster and smaller and better in every possible way. Okay, now that we've done that, let's look at another question, the second question I had in Bamboo Weekly 149. So how different is 2025's flu season in New York? Create a data frame whose rows are the week numbers, whose columns are the years, and whose values consist of weighted percentage of patients reporting visits for flu-like infections in region 2. So this means then I have to get region 2. Okay, so which means New York and New Jersey. I have to get it only in 2025, so it's already going to be restricting the dates and the locations. And then we want to mess around with our data frame, basically create a pivot table. We'll see that in a moment. So how am I going to do this? Well, in Pandas 2, I would use, of course, because I am a big fan of this, I would use method chaining. And the way I'm going to use method chaining here is I've got to sort of pare down the rows. So dot lock, because dot lock is how I choose rows. I'm going to use a lambda df. I'm going to say df of region. And we're going to say equals region 2. And the way this works is the lambda here, this function object, is passed to .lock. And .lock then invokes that function, passing it whatever it got from the previous line. So here on line 5, the previous line is, well, line 4, it's just going to pass df. But if I do this on a second line here, .lock and lambda, now I can say that the year, I'm going to say it's greater than or equal to 2020. Thought that I actually wanted it for 2025 only, but okay, starting in 2020. Looks like, yeah, starting in 2020. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted. So I was just describing it incorrectly before because I did not read the directions. Always a bad sign. So this .lock on line 6 is going to invoke the lambda on whatever got back from line 5. And in this way, we're going to pare it down to only have it from 2020 through 2025. Okay, now that I've done that, I can actually set up a pivot table. But wait, I want the year, right? So I'd better get the year. And here's the thing. Pandas doesn't like it when you have column names that are integers. And whereas Jupyter doesn't really complain about it, Marimo will complain. So I'm just going to say here, .assign. Okay. And how am I going to assign it? Well, I'm going to say here, year equals, I'm just going to replace the existing value. I'm going to say lambda df of year. I'm going to say here as type stir. So I'm going to turn that into strings. And now when we look here, you can see that the year is now object because that's what it is in Pandas 2. Okay, and now I can do a pivot table. Pivot table of, and I'm going to say here the index equals the week and the columns equals the year. And I'm going to say then the values equals, that's going to be percent weighted ILI. And what that means is it's going to count, why is this? Oh, I didn't do a quote there. Oops, there we go. And what it means is basically it's going to keep track of sort of weighting the data, because if you treat every region in the United States equally, it'll look like some have a lot of cases, some have a few cases, when you have to sort of take the population into account. All right, so if I do this now, I get my pivot table up. What did I not like here? Oh, because I didn't do this. Oh, I forgot the comma there. That's why it was giving me trouble. And values equals, let's see here. Syntax error, string literal. I didn't do it. What did I do? Pivot table index equals week. Let's get rid of this here. Let's do this again. Pivot table, we're going to say index equals a week, comma, and then columns equals year, comma, and then we're going to say here values equals percent weighted ILI, and there we go. And now you see that all of us make these sorts of mistakes. And now I have my pivot table, and I see here each year, each week, there are 52 weeks in the year, so we're going to have 53 rows. I guess there's sometimes 53 weeks in the year, and so this way we can do the comparison. How do I want to do that comparison? Well, actually, I can just go here and look at those two lines in a plot. How am I going to plot? Well, I'm going to say here dot pipe px.line, and the way that works is I'm passing the px.line function to pipe. Pipe invokes as a method, passing them a data frame that we got back. So pivot table returns a data frame. We're passing the data frame to px.line, and look at this. Now we have a line showing how each week in each year actually looked. And we can see that in 2025, toward the end there, when I got the data, it was skyrocketing up. We actually now have the data. It's now early 2026. It's January 1st, 2026, and so we should be able to get that data, but I'm not going to re-download it. Okay, so we can see that 2025 compared with 2024, the yellow line, we're not there yet, but we're already at this point in December much, much higher. Okay, so this was great. We were able to get some real data. What happens if we want to replicate this in Pandas 3? How much changes? And the answer is a lot. So I'm going to go here. Can I, by the way, run this code? And the answer is yes, absolutely. It will work just fine. But why would I do that? Because I can do it using fancy schmancy new techniques. No longer do I have to use Lambda. I can actually now use the brand new pd.col syntax. And pd.col means get rid of the Lambda. And I can say pd.col equals region 2. Anywhere you use a Lambda, basically, you can now do pd.col. Not anywhere, but in a lot of places. So year is greater than or equal to 2020. All right. And watch this. I can even do it in a sign. I can say pd.col of year as type dot stir. And so if I run this, I will get exactly the same thing, but it's a much nicer looking query, and I think easier to write and easier to read than we had before. So pd.col, brand new and fancy. Let's look at the time here, 24 milliseconds versus 94 milliseconds. So it looks like actually it's much faster. I'm going to run this again just because I don't totally trust that. And now we can see it is 29 milliseconds versus 34 milliseconds. Yeah, pd.col in my experience is about 10% slower than using a Lambda, but it's so much more readable for most queries. Most of the time it won't make that much difference. All right, these were the first two questions and answers, or first two questions, and I answered them here for Bamboo Weekly number 149. I hope this gave you a good practical sense of what's coming down the pike in Pandas 3. Let me know in the questions what other things you want to know, whether it's about Pandas 3 or Python or Pandas in general. I'll be back real soon with lots more videos about, indeed, Python, Pandas, and everything in between. Looking forward to seeing you then. Thanks a lot.